the town that banned mirrors after what happened. Mirrors are used in our day-to-day lives without us even realizing it. We use them to check our appearance before going out or to hang them up in our living room so we can admire the beauty of our homes. But what if we told you that there was an entire town that had outlawed the use of mirrors? This is the bizarre story of one such town. But how did this all begin? First, we have to talk about Narcissus. In Greek mythology, Narcissus was known as a supremely handsome young man who happened to be in love with his own reflection. He fell in love with himself after seeing his own image reflected in the water. And since then, people who are in love with themselves have been referred to as narcissistic. The term has also been associated with people who are vain and selfish. But narcissism is more than just vanity. It is a personality disorder that causes people to feel a desperate need for admiration from others and have little regard for other people as feelings. But what does this have to do with mirrors? Well, Narcissus' story led to the creation of the term narcissistic personality disorder. So when we see someone who is excessively concerned with their appearance, many of us think that they might have narcissistic tendencies. And this is where things get interesting. In 1976, the psychologists John D. Sharp and Dr. Timothy B. Tyson wrote a paper titled Narcissism, a literature review. In the paper, they described the symptoms of narcissistic personality disorder and said that people who suffer from it avoid looking at mirrors because their excessive preoccupation with their looks means that doing so would only result in disappointment. They further explain that since these people perceive themselves as superior to others, they become upset when they look at their reflections and see themselves to be no better than everyone else. This belief leads them to completely abandon the use of mirrors. Now, you might be thinking that this is just a theory, but turns out it's not. There are quite a few people who are so self-absorbed that they can't stand to look at themselves in the mirror, and this could be due to various reasons. Some people could be insecure about their looks, while others could be unhappy with the way they live their life and don't want to come to terms with it. But one thing is for sure, people who refuse to look at themselves in the mirror are probably hiding something. And this brings us to our next point. Looking at ourselves in the mirror allows us to be honest with ourselves. Seeing our flaws and imperfections helps us accept them and work on improving ourselves. But when we try to hide from our reflection, we end up fooling ourselves into thinking that we're perfect. Not looking at ourselves in the mirror makes us develop a false sense of self-appraisal. And this is exactly what happened in the Italian town of Calchi. Calchi is a small town located in the northern part of Italy. For years, the town was known for its beautiful cobbled streets and amazing medieval architecture. But these days, Calchi is famous for an entirely different reason. You see, a few decades ago, this small Italian town banned all mirrors, according to local legends. The ban was put in place to prevent anyone from falling in love with their own reflection. The legend goes that a few centuries ago, many young men from neighboring towns would visit Calchi just to catch a glimpse of the beautiful maidens of Calchi. And since these men couldn't meet the women in person, they would go to the marketplace and sneak peeks at them through the mirrors at the stalls. Over time, the men became so obsessed with the women that they started neglecting their duties, and the whole town began to suffer. To prevent the townspeople from falling victim to such infatuation, the council passed a law banning mirrors. At first, the ban was supposed to last for just 3 months, but it eventually became permanent. While this story is fascinating, we believe that there is much more to the ban than what meets the eye. You see, humans have been using mirrors for over 3,000 years, and it is highly unlikely that the people of Calchi were the first ones to ever think of banning them. In reality, the ban was most likely put in place to keep the outside world from meddling in their affairs. You see, the Italian peninsula has always been an area filled with conflicts between various parties. During the Middle Ages, the area was ruled by the Republic of Venice, which was a powerful maritime republic that dominated trade in the Mediterranean. However, the power of the republic began to decline during the 15th century, and soon enough, the rest of Italy began to fall under the rule of foreign powers. By the 18th century, most of Italy was divided into several small states, each ruled by a foreign power. This meant that the Italians weren't able to focus on developing their own culture and identity. Instead, they had to live under the rule of foreign powers and adhere to the customs and traditions that were imposed on them. It was during these dark times that the people of Kalki decided to build their town in such a way that it would be hidden from the outside world. They built tall walls around the town and forbade anyone from bringing mirrors into the city. The people of Kalki didn't know that this would end up becoming one of the strangest bans of all time, but they were just trying to protect themselves from the turmoil that was raging outside their town walls. But why did they allow exceptions for windows? If the town was trying to isolate itself from the outside world, why didn't they block out the sunlight? Well, there's a simple explanation for this. You see, windows allow us to see the outside world without actually going outside. On the other hand, mirrors reflect our own image back at us, and the people of Kalki knew that allowing their citizens to look through windows wouldn't cause any harm, whereas mirrors would. But what happened when the rest of the world learned about this bizarre ban? Today, tourists from all over the world visit Kalki just to experience life without mirrors. Every year, thousands of visitors head to the town just to see what life is like without mirrors. When you walk through the streets of Kalki, you will find signs posted on the walls reminding people not to bring mirrors inside their homes. Although the ban isn't strictly enforced anymore, people of Kalki rarely use mirrors in their daily lives. This is because the people of Kalki have grown accustomed to living without mirrors and don't feel the need to use them. Moreover, most of the locals are proud of their town's unique traditions and don't want to ruin it for the sake of a few mirrors. Although many people have tried to lift the ban on mirrors, the locals have resisted all such attempts. Even today, people from all walks of life visit Kalki just to experience what life is like without mirrors. And although some of them might mock the locals for being so superstitious, many end up seeing the benefits of living without mirrors. When you don't have mirrors to constantly tell you what you look like, you learn to appreciate yourself beyond your physical appearance. And that's something that we can all learn from the people of Kalki. And what do you think about this strange ban? Let us know in the comments below. And as always, thanks for watching.